3, 2, 1.
Hey everybody, it's Tyson and Tony here at Real Vets. Welcome to the podcast / webinar here where we're just going to talk about VA loans and stuff about them and how they work. And this is our first time doing it live, so hopefully we're going to get some comments here with some questions so you guys can kind of interact with us. So how's it going, Tony?
I'm going all right. I'm just checking to make sure it's all working, that we're not having technical difficulties.
Yeah. So bear with us. This is our very first time being live, and so it's kind of fun, actually. Wanting to see if it's actually doing its thing.
I'm not seeing it on mine.
No, we'll figure it out. I just went to the event. I just went to the event.
I see what had to happen. I got her.
Oh, you got her?
I think so. Now let's see. Oh, man.
Are you live?
I don't see myself.
When I go to my Facebook page, it says live. It's a red ring around my profile picture.
Mine was not.
Interesting. I want to see like how many people are watching. That's what I want to see.
It's not.
There's the live.
Save changes. Okay, it's popping now. I almost got her. I think it's working now. Let me see.
Pitter patter. Let's get at her.
Come on. I can't tell yet.
I just sent a test comment.
I need to go grab my wife's phone and be like, hey, look at my Facebook. Am I on there?
That's interesting that you and me are
both
laid out.
I got her. Yep, we're good.
Cool. Yeah, so you're on there on the list, but it doesn't underneath all of it. It has you and me grayed out.
All right, we're in action now.
Woohoo.
Oh, all right. I know we got some stuff to talk about. What are we doing? We're just going to kind of chat. We're here to talk about some VA stuff, VA loans, doing what's like to be real estate, looking for comments. We get some comments, maybe questions that unanswered, or just say hi, throw something out there that's kind of funny. Whatever you want to do. We can start with the fact that Tyson's an Air Force veteran. So shots fired.
I had to make it easy for Army. I had to remind him.
Oh, yeah.
Not Navy.
I think Top Gun is Navy, right?
Yes.
So Top Gun's Navy, and that was what I really wanted to.
Funny enough.
Tom Cruise is a short guy like me, brown hair, brown eyes.
Yeah, well, funny enough, Top Gun was one of my favorite movies as a kid, but then I ended up working on fighter jets in the Air Force, so there you go.
I got a shameful truth to admit. I actually haven't watched the new one.
I haven't sat down and watched. I've seen a ton of clips. Like, I feel like I've watched it. I feel like I have the premise for the whole show, but I have not sat down and actually watched the movie. But one of the reasons is I want to like do a 2-movie marathon. I want to watch one and then watch the other at the same time.
I do love a good storyline, and I get sucked into them. So, I can do that too. I can definitely do that too.
Yeah. I'm looking on here to see if it tells us how many people are viewing us. Okay, it says, it's upper left-hand corner. It's if you put your cursor over it, it'll come up with who's watching what, and it's just me on Real Vets watching.
Yeah. So. Well, I'm like watching it, but I'm watching it from I'm not clicked into it.
Right.
I'm just like on my. Huh. Well, let's get ourselves some info on here. I know we got some things to run through. You pull up that first slide.
Yeah, definitely. So
what is it? Oh, the easy stuff, right?
The easy stuff.
Everybody should know.
This is the facts that I give to every veteran every single time I get connected with one, because there's always something on here they didn't know about, and it's just a whole discussion. So we can just start from the one.
VA doesn't have a minimum credit score. That one, no, it does not. It's really what's in the guidelines, right? What's in the guidelines is no minimum credit score, doesn't mean just any credit will do, right? I mean, we're really looking. What
Hey,
are we looking?
Russ.
Russ, what's up, dude? What are we really looking for, though? We're looking for, basically the history of the last 12 months. Have you reestablished your credit by making payments on time? And do you have any late payments, right? Those are the two big things. And there's caveat to that. If there is some late payments, what happened, right? If something's out of your control, there might be something really unique to most people's scenarios. I don't really know what I could make up because it's unique to that scenario, right? Deaths in the family, stacked full of bills, got a bunch of money now, things like that. I've seen go through, got them through. And it's a lot of those are like, it's almost like heartbreaking if it don't go through. Or like, man, like this was like this person was wrong. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that, life is beating this guy up and it's not his fault or her fault. You know what I mean? So
There's a lot of scenarios. And so and one of the biggest thing in the ways when you talk to somebody, they're just like, my stuff's not ready yet. My credit's not high enough or anything. And then you find out they've never talked to a loan officer. They've never even gone and asked the question, hey, have you had all your stuff ready to see how close you actually are? So I just see a lot of people that do that.
Thomas DiGiorgio. There's my guy. What's up? Yeah, I think, and one of the things that really kind of, and I'm sure happens, because sometimes I could feel like what'll happen is they'll apply for a loan, the lender looks at the credit and they'll just say no, right? Because it's really all they have to do is tell you no, right? Or not say anything at all, just send you a letter, say, hey, you've been declined, whatever, right? And so the thing is that I always do, once I pull the credit and I see these things that like, oh, this is going to stop us from moving forward. Now it's time to have that phone call, right? Let's have that phone call. Tell me what happened, sorry, but if you just say you forgot to make the payment, never acceptable. I've never seen that one get accepted. The auto payment one too seems to never get accepted either. Like my auto payment got messed up or whatever. They don't like that explanation either. I've seen that one a lot, and that one kind of sucks because, like, man, technology kind of did me dirty, and I mean, and days fly by. I don't know about y'all, but I just keep getting older and older. So the next thing I know, it's the end of the month.
Yeah, it goes. I feel like since I've become self-employed, my weeks just go by so much faster. It's crazy.
I think it's a setup, man. I've always got deadlines to meet, and so it's always Friday, and I can't do nothing on the weekends. Well, no lenders are open on the weekends. I'm open on the weekends.
Except Tony.
I can't get nothing done.
I'm telling you guys, 10 o'clock at night, we just got done looking at houses all day. You guys finally decide this is the house that we want to offer on. Tony will get me a pre-approval letter that night. Like, we'll be writing an offer. We won't have to wait till the next day. And that I don't get that with a lot of other loan officers.
Oh, yeah. I mean, credit the fact that I have trouble sleeping, probably, a little PTSD action, but whatever. It's all good.
Blame me. I don't care.
Tyson
will stop messaging me.
That's an ability.
Well, what's the next one here? Yeah, you can have more than one VA loan at a time.
Yeah. And, we're kind of special in this Pacific Northwest here with this, right? Especially right in our area, because we're border on a higher price county. And so a lot of times, you go like the Midwest or something, you come apply for a loan. If you don't got any entitlement left to go zero down, you're coming with a down payment. And there's not a lot of options on to do that, but you can. So like if it's 806, right? So 404, easy math. I'm just going to say right now, 2 VA loans, 404,000, both zero down, right? That's the easy math, or 403,000. My math is off. So you got those 2 VA loans. Right. And then you're out of entitlement. Well, you can go like 500 on the second one, 25% of the difference is your down payment. But in our area, we've got 1,034,000 in Pierce County, King County, and Snohomish County. So a lot of times if they're coming from somewhere, maybe somewhere that's a little higher or whatever, we could be like, oh man, they got a 450 charge over here. They can come here and go, 650 or so. on a VA loan and have a small down payment, or just go 600 and there's no down payment, whatever it is. Right. So my math is completely off, but that's just because I'm spitballing. It's 1,037,000. Two numbers equal that. You'll have that difference.
Right. See, look, just right there. Boom. This whole podcast, this whole episode is a success just because of that one comment.
Let's go.
Because one person tells another person.
Did you know there was a time you could Google veterans, how many veterans had used their VA benefits? And Google said that 70% of veterans had not used the benefits they were entitled to.
Well, and so many of them, especially the older guys, they did it used to be a rule you could only use it once? Was that a thing?
I think there was a thing way back when. I think there was some more, like they had to because they're always changing it and evolving it. So I think it was like way, way back. Maybe it was like a use it or lose it thing. I mean, look at all the other use it or lose it things we've had. With like the schooling, they've changed several times. In fact, Thomas would speak to that, the schooling stuff. I know that one shifted because it was like you had like 10 years to use it or something when you got out, and so. But yeah, it has evolved. I mean, it continues to evolve. Almost every 6 months, there's something new coming out. I swear. I think I don't know. The last one was probably didn't really help as much, but it was around the construction loan where they were talking about the using the equity from the land. They changed the rules on that, So, but we'll talk about. That's the next one, anyways, isn't it? The VA home bill. We just jump right to it then. Mm-hmm. So they changed that. Like it used to be, when I'd set the loan up, I would set it up as like, say you paid the land off or got the land as a gift. I would set the loan up as a $300,000 build loan with $100,000 in equity from the land. Well, they took the ability to do that away. So now there's not all this equity there. You can only get a loan for what you need.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. That was a really cool. It was because I was going to do that with that land that I have. Because the more I did to it, the more equity I was going to have in it, and then that was going to count towards.
Well, technically give you more. Oh yeah, see, Thomas commented it's 15 years. So you
for what the school?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So is that the post 9/11?
I think so.
So, okay.
But yeah, so I mean that was one of the changes they did with the build loan, and I mean, honestly, I'm loving this construction loan right now. I really am. I've been just kind of pulling them in and talking to a lot of people about them, and they're a pretty complex thing to deal with, right? Like it took me a long time before I really started just quit stubbing my toe all over the place. Mm-hmm. Because it's a hard loan. Like there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of different things that can happen with land. I've seen it over and over again. I think I've got one person I'm still waiting on subdividing their land. They're like a year in right now, and they're still trying to subdivide and get that dealt with, But the VA building loan still zero down, still build up to fourplex, build barn dominiums, set manufactured homes. And manufactured homes my favorite right now because of the equity you can gain here in the Pacific Northwest right away. Mm-hmm. Especially in your area up to Olympia, Pierce, and King. But no, I wouldn't say King.
There's a ton of people doing it. Buying land, putting a manufactured home on it in a garage and selling it and making
investors are doing money. It. Yeah, I mean, if investors are doing it, it's a good thing to do as a VA loan, right?
And manufactured homes today are just so much better than they were 20 years ago, like just how they're built and everything. So
yeah, and I mean, we're able to wrap all that, because then we can wrap it all into the loan. It's all concessions, right? I can wrap all the closing costs. I can wrap everything just into the loan, Mm-hmm. Makes it pretty nice. It
does. Yeah, definitely. And so we were talking about the VA home building loan there. And just to touch on it, we can build stick-built houses. We can do manufactured homes. All utility installation can be in that loan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All utility installation. The only thing there's a few things up front in feasibility that you got to look out for, right? Well, you got to be expectant of to spend money on. One would be a percolation test, right? Soil samples, make sure that the water, the ground is affluent, so that way liquids can pass through it, right? For gray water. Yeah. So that's one thing that might have to be done up front if there's no septic and there's no city sewer to connect to. I keep running into a lot of them already have that done. But what they'll have, they won't have the septic in, but they'll have the septic plan all done and approved. So I don't know if there's like somebody that's out there advising their people, hey, get this part done, you know?
I mean, if you've got land to sell and you can already answer the question that it's perkable or what type of septic it needs. That makes it way more sellable.
That's what you guys. So that's in your guys' kind of thing when you're talking to.
Oh yeah. I mean, talking, because we get people that come up to us and just like, hey, should I, if I subdivide this, what do you think I could sell each piece for? Well, what are you going to do with it? Are you selling it as a home building site? Did you want to fork out to get a perk test done? That way, it's perk tests and septic design are already done, or put the well in too. Tons of people are always saying, hey, we want to find a piece of land with the well already there, and the septic perk already done. It makes it more valuable. It actually makes the property sell for more too, and faster, because the question marks are already handled.
Oh yeah. So, and I'm assuming, because I've seen land sit, right? Like that's one thing I've seen a lot of is land sitting for many days, and I'm assuming that's probably why you're coaching them that way, right? As an agent, Mm-hmm. So definitely. I mean, makes sense. I've heard we'll call them rumors, grapevine, whatever you want it. All the builders have bought up all the good land for developments and everything else, and I feel like it definitely holds some truth to that too.
They're out there looking for them. They've got the cash to acquire them fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, my boy Mike's on. There's a fellow edger out there.
It's this one here. Could you buy land, build a building, or place a manufactured building and then use it for a business purpose under VA loan guidelines, or do you need to reside in it? It has to be your dwelling, your personal dwelling for a year. Now, whether you're operating a business as well as living there, that's between you and the county, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, it depends on. So technically, the short answer is you don't get any value for any part of a building that you're doing commercial business in. So I guess you'd want to get really unique on that and figure out like, hey, what is the business? Like, how many square footage is it taking up? I'd assume that it'd be the same thing with construction. You're not getting any square footage for that. Therefore, you're not getting any value for that, which could in turn hurt you a little bit on appraisal. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what kind of business you could do with a manufactured home. I mean, I think the only way to do it is build a manufactured home, live in it. Joe Smiley, what's up, buddy? Love you too, man. I think you buy the manufactured home, you live in it, and then basically after a year, that thing's yours. You can do what you will at that point, Mm-hmm. So, I mean, aside from selling parcels of the land without, reconveyance or anything, but make sure you get permission from your lender before you move any piece of what they financed. But t-shirts and apparel. So, I mean, you technically do that in a back room. I don't even know that.
As I said, at that point, as long as it's your dwelling, whatever you do with it.
Yeah, I mean,
after you've closed, whatever you want to do, but you just got to live there a year.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any money to invest in the business or anything like that.
Okay.
It wouldn't be but I mean, even with manufactured homes, I mean, you're not really getting custom. I mean, because you can do shops and stuff like that with it. ADUs, you can build ADUs with it. You can do shops with it. You can do detached garages, attached garages. I've seen both with manufactured homes, with stick built barndominiums, obviously barndominiums, but garages are allowed with it. There is you got to be a little bit careful with garages because of square footage, value, and costs. So because you don't get as much value for a garage, but if the square footage, if the builder's charging you for that square footage, you might not be getting a dollar for dollar. Typically what you're doing is probably eating up into that instant equity, right? So it'd just be a little bit, I don't know. That'd be an interesting kind of thing to go down for sure. What else on building loans? What else on building? I think they're definitely
On building.
Yeah.
What's the big difference between the VA home building loan and a regular home building loan in regards to like when you have to start paying for stuff?
When you have to start what?
When you have to start paying, like with a regular home building loan, you'd have to start forking out money as the house is getting built, right?
So that definitely varies lender to lender. Right now, VA interest reserve, right? Interest reserve, you cannot make payments during construction. There's no interest-only payments during construction. Like all my manufactured homes that I've been setting are there's no payments during construction, and we set them in an 8-month build time to allow to get permits and all that stuff on all the purchase VA loans. Conventional, depending on how if that Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, interest reserve, interest-only payments. I think with my one lender, I don't have the option for an interest reserve on the conventional loans. I may with some others, but hasn't really come up recently. We just did interest only, but on my FHA loans with the main lender I've been using for these. So just saying there's more options out there, right? But on my FHA loans, it's optional whether you want to do an interest reserve or do the interest only payments. And it's optional to an extent, right? So it's optional to do it, but it's also going to be in like, hey, if you come to me and you want to put a shop up, you want to put all this stuff up, right? Well, you might start eating into that instant equity you might be gaining. And so we might have to go from an interest reserve to take because you're talking 8 months worth of payments. It's going to be $25,000, $30,000 in your pre-approval amount, right? So if we eat up that with that and a bigger shop than a guy really probably should be getting, right? Because we know how we want that big shop, right? So we build a bigger shop. Well, we eating in that. Now we got to take that $30,000. We need it for our shop. So now we're going to have to make those interest-only payments based on what we have drawn. So, What's better than zero down, no interest-only payment? Whole build is being completed. That's right, the VA. The VA is the best. Yeah, you can't beat the VA. The VA is I remember when I first I wish I could remember the real estate agent's names, but he told me he goes, man, you got the VA loan because we're just talking about it outside or whatever. And he's like, you got the Cadillac. That's the Cadillac. I was like, oh, I like Caddies. Come on.
Yeah, it's the closest. I think the closest a civilian can get is the FHA, but there's still a down payment. But there's just no real comparison. I think the tribal loans can be pretty similar to VA loans.
Tribal is like actually looked that up.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. If you're officially a part of a Indian tribe, you can get access to the tribal loan, which is pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
you got USDA.
It's like one of the only other zero down loans out there that's government based. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what's the next one? VA rehab loan. This is a big one. I mean, I'll be talking to a veteran and I tell him, hey, there's a VA rehab loan. They're like, what's that? And then so we go into this whole thing talking about how you can find a house that doesn't quite meet VA guidelines, but you can get it to that point and then close the loan, right?
Well, and this one might get some feedback here because most people don't know this, but you can do up to $200,000 in repairs. So you can do a pretty hefty rehab, right?
Yeah.
Now that's not with every lender. Now anything over the lender requires anything over $50,000 be done by a HUD consultant. So what a HUD consultant does, and that's my dude Raj, he does all that stuff. HUD consultant will come out with your contractor, right? So you don't get an inspection, no inspection. He'll do the inspection. And what he's going to do is he's going to make a list, right? He's going to make a list of all the things that need to be repaired according to the housing development guidelines, right? So according to HUD, he's going to tell us everything that needs to be repaired. And so we'll take that list, put it to the contractor. All right, he's working on his bid, right? And then the buyer can tell the contractor, hey, I got all this stuff I have to do. Here's what I want to do, right? So now you got this big list of everything you can rehab, up to $200,000. It's actually high. You can't go higher than $200,000 with an exception. But yeah, it's basically the FHA 203K Unlimited, right? It's just a redesign of that. So, Mike, I don't know about 200K on 50K. So it's still got to appraise. It's still got to appraise. I don't know about Kentucky and appraisals. I mean, I have to look at that, but it's got to appraise, man.
So once you pick out, once you have the bids for all the repairs and everything, before anything gets done, don't they have to send out an appraiser to make sure, hey, if these things are done, it will appraise for this, and then you're given the green light?
Yeah. They're going to take the contract, right, from the contractor and the HUD consultant, and they're going to do a future appraisal based on that. And then you're going to close, and then you got 9 months to finish the project.
Gotcha.
Right?
Gotcha. And do your payments start? Do your payments start as soon as you close, or is it like the home building loan after the night?
Nope. Your payments will start. You will close, and then your payments will start.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay. And so there brings up a really quick question. Usually, the VA requires that you reside in the property within 60 days of closing. Does that still apply to this?
Yes.
So it has to be a home.
So it doesn't say have to occupy in 60 days.
Okay.
That's an example in that section of the guidelines. Intent has to be to occupy as your primary residence. So intent can be a little bit, I mean, they still want you to occupy in 60 days, right? They still want you to occupy within that. The guideline specifically states occupy within a reasonable amount of time.
Gotcha.
Right. So it's got to be like you're moving into it. Like, I mean, basically my kind of thought around that is like, hey, are we removing some toilets and some bathrooms? Let's make sure we get enough in there to where we can occupy and the contractor can work around them. You know, so
yeah, cool.
Mike wants to do a rehab in Kentucky on a 50K property. He needs 200K in work. It might work. I don't know. We'd have to see. I hope it's in like the city of Kentucky. What's the city of Kentucky look like? Is there a city? Was that Fort Knox? Where is that?
God, what's the name of a town in Kentucky?
I don't know nothing about Kentucky, but my buddy Cheney, I was in basic training with, and that's his name. His name was Cheney. All right, it was Cheney. He had a twang.
Is there a town called Fried Chicken in Kentucky?
There's got to be by now. Come on, it's like a marketing gimme. Oh, there you go, 400K. Yeah, that's a go.
As long as it jives with the Ford Future appraisal, I guess you can do it the hell you want.
Can't be condemned. As long as it's not condemned right now, you know. So they don't do condemned, and they don't do unfinished construction. It has to have already had a certificate of occupancy.
Gotcha. So it differentiates that way. Now, brings up another question. And it just left my brain completely.
No questions.
So
it'll come back when we're talking on a whole other topic. You're like, oh, and then we'll have to like digress to answer it. No,
it'll come back.
Where did you go to basic training?
Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas.
What motel is that?
I think it's the Marriott. No. Sorry, it was the one connected to Busch Gardens.
Yeah, Mike's out of here. He's like, I'm out of Washington. I'm gone. I mean, I'll take a 200K rehab that's only 400K in Kentucky. Gosh, I've been helping some people, and I got licensed in Florida, and I'm like, and I'm working on a license in North Carolina right now, and I'm like, man, I'm like, these houses are. Oh man, I don't know.
I've been feeling a pull to that side. I mean, me and my wife, I think it was October, we went to Atlanta, then we drove up through Stone Mountain, through Georgia, Tennessee, and then we went to Asheville, North Carolina. We went to Lynchburg, Tennessee. That was so much fun. It's just so beautiful of it. It actually not Lynchburg. Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg felt a lot like East Lewis County here near me. It felt really similar.
Really?
But it was really cool. And then like a month later, all those floods happened. I was gone by then.
We're planning Nashville, I think, in October, taking the girls.
Nashville's supposed to be so much fun. I've never been.
Yeah,
Never
we
been.
I got a broker conference out there with the Broker Action Coalition's Fuse, I believe we call it. Yeah, I'll be going. We got to make sure I go book it all. I can see already people are already starting to talk about it, so this thing's going to fill up fast. But I'm going to get out there and do the conference, and then just like Kennedy and Ashley, basically have a heyday in country boy world, right? So.
Well, what's the last thing? Oh, the VA loan is exempt from PMI, and the very first question I get from veterans is, "What's PMI?"
Private mortgage insurance. That's basically what happens when you don't have enough invested into a house to eliminate the mortgage insurance, right? They look at it as a higher risk. PMI is very annoying to me because it just is, but whatever. That's fine. It seriously is. I mean, because I'm going to segue a little bit. So, like with conventional loans, like they did a lot with conventional loans over the last year to kind of eliminate. I don't know. I want to say to eliminate discrimination, basically around lower credit scores. They did a lot with conventional loans to make that work for people, so that more people could use the conventional loan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Private mortgage insurance did not get the memo, right? From what I've seen. So if someone's on here, a loan officer that knows something that I don't, PMI did not get the memo, and it's still outrageous. You know, they're like, oh, super high risk, $522 a month. You know, I've seen it recently. It drives me bonkers.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, it just doesn't. All it did, now someone else is making more money. You know, I mean, I don't know. That's my soapbox on that. But yeah, so basically what happens is the VA is guaranteeing up to 25% of the loan amount, right?
And
So
that
since
makes it so you don't have to do PMI.
it's over 20%, right? That's the real hidden thing there. That's why it's not there, right? That's the entitlement that you earn that the VA is guaranteeing to the lender, that if you stop making your payments for a prolonged period of time, that the lender can foreclose on you, and they will write a check to the lender, and they can also sell the home. So,
Yep, I've actually helped 2 people buy homes owned by the Department of Veteran Affairs, or the Secretary of Veteran Affairs is what it says. Who owns it? I've sold 2 of those this year.
oh wow, yeah.
So
Yeah, I think we're seeing, you know, and I want to look out for my active duty guys a little bit. It's something that's really hard to deal with because the Army moves them so fast sometimes, and things happen, man. I tell you what. So, so I like to go in with a plan. You know, go in with a plan. I love that's why I love the manufactured home on land. That's a plan, right? Like if the Army moves you out right after you move into your house, it sucks. You're moving right away. But at least you got some equity to play with, right? Or, you know, or so maybe a house that's, you know, you got on a really good deal, you know. But yeah, so, but yeah, so
Yeah.
no PMI.
awesome.
There is
Well,
a funding.
funding fee, unless you have a rating with the VA, right?
10% VA disability or higher.
And then you don't have to pay that. Now, is there a percentage that the VA funding fee is?
Yep, 2.15 for the initial use, 3.3 for
Repeat use?
subsequent use, and then 1.6 for 5% down, and then 1.4, I believe, for 10% down. Might be 1.25. I haven't looked at the funding fee table in like a week.
Gotcha. But if you have over 10% disability with the VA, you don't pay that fee at all.
Bam, gone. And I get a lot of guys, you know, and caveat to that, if you're a veteran and you intend on filing for VA disability, you can go ahead and tonight, after you get off this thing, look up what a VA intent to file is and get that in so we can start your payday tomorrow or Monday.
Yeah.
So get that in and then ask me questions. Like ask me questions about it. I'll make sure I'll tell you where to go next. That's all you got to do. File the intent to file. You know, I just I had another veteran get their retro check today. So for 4 months, because the VA is moving a little fast. It took 4 months. That wasn't bad. That's not bad. All loans allow for buying points down. So they all have limits to how much you can buy down. To make it basically to pass what they call QM. And so so the short answer is almost all loans, yes. I believe Washington down payment assistance does not. That's the one I've learned recently that it doesn't. I took the class and everything. I was like, didn't realize you couldn't buy it down. Like I was like, oh yeah, they don't give you a sheet. So there's another. I'm just getting in on those. So literally, I think we got my first one. So I'm like, we're still learning the DPA. Man, there's so much to learn when you're doing loans. I'm telling you what. I got DPA. I'm learning. I got private money with Matty B. I'm learning all kinds of cool stuff with that. I got a friend out in Florida that calls me every about 3 months and talks to me about creative financing. So like subject to stuff. And I'm like, oh, okay, let's learn that too then. Come on, bring it all. Let's go. Now, commercial lending. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Development, learning that stuff. Oh, my brain. Oh, it's Carmen. Hi, Carmen. Good to see you. I hope all is well.
I can see everybody that's commenting is from your stuff. I haven't got anybody looking at mine.
Oh, yeah.
Sad.
Mike asks, what does it take to become a lender? So to become a loan officer, it takes about 20 hours and an 8-hour course, or an 8-hour, is it 20-hour safe course and an 8-hour test, 8 hours of federal learning, and then a Washington State PE is 4 hours. If Rihanna was on here, she'd tell me she's literally taking it right now.
That explains a lot.
So it's like 28 hours of law, and it's pretty intense, especially.
And here I am having to do 90. Really? Come on, man.
You got to do 90?
90 in Washington.
Oh, wow.
It's a 30 and 60.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But yeah, then you get sponsored, you can get your license that way. You can also do things like become like broker owner. There's mortgage companies that offer that too. It's a pretty cool thing. I see a lot of guys do it, man. I see a lot of guys just kind of take it on their own. Definitely don't recommend someone new just jumping right into it and going that route. I think you got to be. I think it takes a special character around mortgages to do something like that. For me, I like to just get right to work. So not have to worry about all the details of like, what do they call them? They call them there's this role, like this, I don't know, this call sheet thing they got to do. If Tom Els is watching, he'd tell us what it is. He talks about it all the time. There's some kind of like calling thing that if you own the company, you got to send in, and then you got to deal with all the auditing. Like, I mean, I'm cool. Like, I just want to do loans. I don't want to do audit. Yeah. So basically, I was told in the beginning, just, be a good dude. I'll say it real nice. He said, be a good dude. That's not what he said, but that's basically what he said, and you don't got to worry about it, and that's basically how I've done it. I don't want to do a loan more than anybody else. If they don't want to do the loan, neither do I, so it's all that way. I'm always for the people, right? So,
yeah.
What do we got? Not all lenders take part. Ooh, you take this one. This one's all you, buddy.
This one's a bit of a bugaboo for me, and this is what separates the men from the boys for me in regards to lenders that do VA loans. There are a lot of mainstream lenders. We're going to call them big box brands. I'm not going to mention any names because I still like to work with them when I get clients that are with them. You laughing at me? So there are two things here. There is the minimum. It goes back to the very first one, the minimum credit score requirement. Even though the VA does not have a minimum credit score guideline, they said, no, you can get approved for a VA loan. It might not be very much, but we're not going, they're not going to say, no, we won't. Nobody can underneath a certain amount. But the lenders themselves that do the VA loan are allowed to put what's called an overlay on top of it. And so you get lenders that'll just follow the VA guideline, like Tony, and you give him all your stuff. He'll tell you where you're at. He'll say, hey, I mean, you can afford $50K in a box of Triscuits, but that's where you're at right now. Let's see what we can do to get you up a little more next year. And then there's lenders that'll 620 and up. They won't touch you. And then like they'll get people that are 600 and they'll put them in a credit repair program for 6 months. And then they'll do their loan once they're past the 620. And I don't know, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way, I guess. Because I feel like you should at least tell them, hey, we don't do above 620, but some other lenders might do 580. A lot of them do 580. because otherwise you got veterans that think, oh, we have to wait. We gotta do stuff before we can buy a house, when they could just talk to somebody else and get about their lives.
They want to hold on to the sale, That's
Oh yeah, but we're dealing with veterans, and I think that's where it gets into my gut a little bit. I'm like, no, be honest about the guideline, and we're like just. But then that comes into this. Not only are lenders able to put their own overlay on top of who they want to work with, but also they can pick and choose which ones of these programs on this list they want to take part in and which ones they don't. So that's why every time I get a veteran, we sit down and we talk about everything you can do with this loan. And it brings up lots of questions. And pretty soon, by the end of the conversation, they've got a lot to think about. And a lot of the big box brands, they won't do the home building loan, or they'll say, hey, if you get the land, once you have the land, then we can help you build the house. And I'm just like, that defeats the whole point of the VA one-time closed home building loan. That just defeats then you're having to go get a land loan and put a down payment down of 30%, because there's no VA land loan. So you have to be building a house in order to buy the land.
You put on a timeline.
You can put it on timeline and everything. You can't just buy a land and sit on it for a year and think about it and then build the house. You can't use the VA loan for that. So, but actually that brings up something that's not on this list. Not to stray away from this, but the VA will loan on a manufactured home that has been moved. And it's one of the only loan types that do that.
Yep.
So me and Tony have done several of those. Because a lot of the times you'll see a house and it'll say cash VA. That's it. They won't say FHA, USDA, anything like that. And that's because it's been moved. I mean, the VA makes you get the foundation cert, everything else, just like a normal loan, but it actually makes it easier to get the veteran into it because he's not competing with all the other loan types. When I get a veteran and they see a house that they love on a piece of land and we find out, ooh, it's been moved. As long as it's in good shape, I'm like, dude, we can get you into this. We're not going to have as much competition.
Yeah.
So that's always a lot of fun.
Proper inspections, and I mean, you definitely want a lender that knows what they're doing with those too, because I mean, if they don't know, they're going to stub their toe. Ask me how I know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of stuff that goes into it. Engineer certs, foundation, making sure it's got the correct foundations, tie downs underneath it. Well, septic, but that's with every VA that has those.
And any loan officer that might listen to this is going to be a tip for you. It still says in the guidelines, sealed and coated the roof, right? But I haven't seen a roof with that little rubber mat on it since I was a little kid rolling into the trailer park.
That's mostly single wides, though, isn't it?
Yeah, single wides. I just don't see them. I don't ever see the rubber coated, whatever that roofing was. That was like need to be coated and sealed, almost like you see on a camper. Like I don't see that I haven't seen that on not one of the twice moved man homes that we did. I feel like someone sent me a picture of one recently. No, I sent a picture to the underwriter of one because she was like, "We need to have this sealed and coated." And I was like, check it out. I was like, "Here, this is what they're talking about." Because I mean, to the naked eye, it looks like, hey, the VA is requiring this to be done. So it's really like, I don't know why they haven't updated that yet. It's kind of weird,
There's a few things in the guidelines.
Yeah,
there's a few things in the guidelines. Yeah.
But it's good. It was, and I mean, you just got to know, get the proper inspection. There's there's 3 forms you got to fill out with the VA. They all got to be signed by a professional, an engineer who is licensed to do so, right? L&I's got to be checked off, all that stuff. So,
yeah, definitely. Do you have anything to add to this list before we move on to the next thing?
No, I think we just covered a lot of stuff. That was great.
We did. Man, we were only going to do this for an hour. We're already 45 minutes in.
I know.
So this is fun. Well, the next one, I wish more people were watching right now. We had like 7 or 8 people. They're all coming from you, though, not from me.
They'll come back and watch.
Yeah. Well, we need, if you're watching this, go to our RealVets page, join it. and we wanted to talk about RealVets a little bit here. So RealVets is a brand that we have created to help get in front of and engage with fellow veterans and service members. We're trying to use it as a platform to get this information out to veterans so they know it, because it doesn't feel like there's one place that's like really pushing out there this information. And yes, we get clients from it because we're letting them know the possibilities that they have that they didn't before, and that's awesome. But the other side of it is just spreading the word, because the thing about a benefit, if you don't use it, you lose it at the end of the day. And so we got to make sure that we're keeping everybody educated on it, and in my opinion, keeping lenders honest. Because people want to keep a client, but at the same time, you're dealing with a veteran that earned this benefit, and I feel like when you're in front of them and you can tell they don't know something, we should be obligated to educate them. Like, I feel like here's something I feel like the VA should do. As a requirement of doing VA loans, you should have to give them a pamphlet that lists all this stuff you could do with your VA loan. I really think it should be a requirement.
A pamphlet?
Just like we have to do lead disclosures and stuff when people buy houses.
VA disclosure. Well, I mean, there's the toolkit in there that tells you to, I mean, it's in the disclosures. I mean, after the Paperwork Reduction Act, it's probably page 67, maybe somewhere in there.
I think it needs to be like one page, like in your face. Boom, 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 boom.
And of course, when you're scrolling through to sign it, it like zooms through to the next place you sign. So
it's like read what you're signing. It's a big deal. The goal, as I was saying before, is to connect with and educate them on the benefits available to them that they have earned for serving our country. So I mean, when I bought my house, I didn't know any of this stuff. I came in, I was like, I don't even think I can get pre-approved, and they pre-approved me, and I went and bought a house, but I didn't know anything about buying a duplex or do just any of it. All I knew was I'm only paying $1,400 to get the keys to this house. That was all I knew. That was all I was really told. And then the last part here is we're to get this out, we're doing the podcast, social media, and live webinars. This is actually our first live webinar. We had to push it out from last week. We just didn't have enough people signing up for it, and then we just got rid of the sign up altogether and opened it up. But if you're watching this, please go sign up with RealVets. We're trying to create a following to help spread the word. So the next time we're on the live, we're going to have more people. This is our first time doing this with the comments and everything, and this has actually been a ton of fun.
I love it. It's always fun. We need to find a guest. We'll find a guest next time.
Yes, we should get a guest.
We'll get a guest in 2 weeks. Who are we looking for? I'd love to get Thomas on here. Thomas was just on. He was on a little bit ago. He's the education guru.
Oh yeah. So is that Thomas
DiGiorgio?
Got it.
No.
Is he in Washington?
It's a virtual assistant, Will.
Oh God, that drives me nuts. I'll be watching something who's like, get your VA, and I'm like, VA? Oh, virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant.
Gotcha. I hate that.
They've sold me on that one before. I think I literally got tricked into a meeting with the virtual assistant because I thought it was something to do with the VA. I'm sure they're clever. Salespeople are clever, man. I'll tell you what, they are.
Will showed up though. Actually late, but he's here.
He's here. I mean, they can all go back and watch, right? You can just watch through, fast forward.
Yeah, and I believe this posts afterwards, so it's on the page for anybody to go back and watch the recording.
Yeah.
So yeah, and also audio recording of this is going to go up on our podcast for Spotify and stuff like that, probably.
Yeah.
So yeah, but gosh, do we have anything else to talk about? What's the next page here?
Lenders. This is just a kind of a caveat as we head into the refinance season. It seems like it's pretty sure it's coming. Kind of already started kicking off a little bit here. People are getting a lot of letters, right? And I got this one letter at one time, and this little Earl, we call them Earls, right? Interest rate reduction loans. This letter shows up, and it looks like a certificate of eligibility. It's literally on the form. Like, if that doesn't say I'm part of the VA. I don't know what does, right? I'm just like there are so many like tricky looking letters out there to just kind of watch out for. Their spam. They're definitely on the bait and switch. I wish I could say they're all honest, but they're just not. I've literally seen it many times, and so I've actually physically seen it one time where I was talking to a guy and then I lost the deal. And then like 6 months later, he comes back to me and we're talking about something else. And I was like, well, wait a minute, what happened here? And he literally got bait and switched. And I lost the deal at the time, but I think I gained a client for life, so just shoot them straight, right? So a lot of those letters they're fictitious. They're definitely not shooting people straight, so.
I've asked this question before, Thomas. I believe the answer is no.
So like in Puerto Rico, like they got their own banking system or whatever. Is it Puerto Rico? Is that one of the ones that's
it's like a U.S. territory, but not in the U.S.
So like they got their own banking system. So I believe there is loan officers out there that can do something. So when I looked at it before, I believe there's like you can go out there and like they can get VA insured. I'm sure you'd have to I don't know how you do it. Just go to Puerto Rico and look for VA loan. Maybe I've never seen it. I've kind of wondered. Never really kind of dug deep into it. Just always known I couldn't do it. So.
Yeah. What about Greenland? Can you get one in Greenland yet? Maybe. I don't know. That was a joke.
We don't know what the future holds.
Gotcha.
I don't know what's going on. But yeah, so I mean that's just goes to show, just trust but verify. I seen that guy wear that shirt a lot, and I like that saying. Verify it all, right? So, and you do that by seeing the numbers on paper. If somebody wants a second opinion, got you. Let's go. So, but yeah, other than that, I think that's all we got tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that was the last slide for tonight. That actually worked out really good. So, well, we got 2 people viewing right now. Anybody have any more questions before we decide to shut this down, I guess?
You like my shirt? Till Valhalla.
You like mine?
I do like this, Sergeant.
Step Sergeant. Yeah. Yes, Step Sergeant. What do you guys say?
That's so bad.
I like it.
That's so bad. So many levels. Sweet.
Yeah. I saw the shirt. I had to have it. I just had to have it. There wasn't even a question.
I gotta say, I'm impressed. I'm always looking for clothing that's unique, that's better, right? And you are too. Right?
This one's from Awesome Shit by Joe Sargent.
Oh, okay.
So I got one that's it's got the what's the ribbon you get for joining during time of war, meritorious service ribbon or whatever. Like everybody got one. Like it was like the one ribbon everybody had when they got out of basic. The red and blue one. And it says, I'm kind of a big deal. And it's just a big thing of that ribbon.
Yeah.
That one's one of my favorite ones to wear.
Real quick, just going to throw a little banner up here. Where'd it go?
You're going to throw a banner up?
Yeah, just for make sure. I couldn't tell if that was on there or not, so I'm just going to.
For anybody that wants to know, the software for this is StreamYard. It's fantastic. It connects to all of our social media. Besides TikTok, I'm still figuring that one out. Because I really want to get this on TikTok. So we got 3 people watching right now. We could show you who they were, though.
Yeah. There we go. Boom. Got it. Can they see it? I can see it.
You have to click on it to post it.
That's how I did.
Oh, here. I got it.
There we go. Hey, should have had that one up.
I know. We should have had this. See, we're still learning how to use all this stuff.
Yep. So now
we got. Gotta wait till the end to get the juicy info there.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. Well, it is 7:55, and I can hear my kids banging outside the door, wondering where the heck Dad's at. Been gone all day showing houses.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So-
right. My wife's asleep. I don't know. I'm gonna eat some food and go chillax and get ready for softball tomorrow. Boom.
Sounds good. It was nice meeting you, Tom.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, thank you all for watching or rewatching it. If you have any questions, reach out to either me or Tony. Message the Real Vets page, whatever. We will see it. And have a good night.